Video được Việt hóa bởi Ngọc Tân từ group tài nguyên dựng phim. Nghiêm cấm các hành vi lít về rồi bán cho thằng khác. Mọi ý kiến đóng góp xin gửi về Facebook Quỳnh Ngọc Tân.
Now let's take a look at some important preferences that you might want to look at. Depending on your system and how things are set up and your general preferences, your preferences might want to be set to something that's specific. So let's go. Get it? Preferences. Okay. So you can find the preferences up here under DaVinci Resolve, under Preferences, and this is all about how Resolve works and how your system works. Whereas your project settings are more about your specific project, this is more about kind of Resolve in general. So under System, it's important to probably just page through this just to double check and make sure nothing looks totally weird. One thing you definitely want to check out is your memory and GPU. Make sure that it's using all of the memory that you want it to use. Make sure that it's using your GPU. Make sure these are clicked and that it recognizes your GPU. If it doesn't, if your GPU doesn't show here, you might need to update your video drivers. Under media storage, what I like to do is have a folder for our cache. The cache is basically where Resolve will put a bunch of random files that it needs to think about stuff. And that needs to be in a place that one has a whole lot of room and two can be accessed pretty fast. So you probably wouldn't want to put this on like a really slow thumb drive or something. You want to make sure it's on a nice fast hard drive with plenty of room.
Video được Việt hóa bởi Ngọc Tân từ group tài nguyên dựng phim.
The rest of this here is under video plugins. If you want to add in specific OpenFX plugins, under audio plugins, if you want to add VST effects, this is where you can tell Resolve where those plugins are. Control panels is where you can select the different types of panels that Blackmagic makes and tell them that those exist and to use them. If you don't have a panel, don't worry about it. And one other thing I'd like to point out is internet accounts here. This is where you can actually sign in to YouTube or Vimeo or Dropbox or whatever so that you can directly upload to your account using Resolve. And this is something I use all the time. You can just click this to sign in and it will pop up a little window and ask you to sign in that I'm not going to show you because, you know, secrets. But that's how you would do that. And you can enable it to directly upload to these things in the deliver page. So those are the system preferences. There's also the user preferences, which are over here. And this is a lot more stuff that isn't so important. It's more just kind of like what you prefer, like your default settings for if you drag something to the timeline, and a lot of stuff that if you're new to Resolve, you probably don't know which of these you like or don't like yet, but this is where all of that stuff exists. But again, I think the most important thing is memory and GPU and media storage when it comes to the preferences.